Welcome back. You are tuned in, Trades Nation. My pleasure to have with us here today book author Omar Tyree. He authored The Equation, Applying the 4 Indisputable Components of a Business Success. Omar, welcome to Traders Nation. How are you today?
Hey, thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Hey, you know, how is The Equation a groundbreaking formula that looks at how all businesses is an art?
That's what it is. Every business is something that you have to create first. You have to be good in your creation, and then you have to persuade people to buy it. And once people buy it in multiple numbers, it creates business.
Nice.
Every single business in the world. If you're not selling anything, you're not in business. What you're selling is great talk and conversation. The people listen to it. If you're good, they want to listen to it more. The more people you can advertise to, the more your business goes up, the more the radio station pays you, the more people want to advertise on your show. It's that simple. But you got to start off with passion. Okay, you have to like being on the radio. You have to want to be on the radio. You have to do it for free sometimes. You start off doing it for free. Hey, I love radio. I want to be on it all the time. Then you learn how to put a lot of interest in it, a whole lot of hours into it, dedication. You learn your own techniques and what have you. And then you put X amount of hours into it, you end up getting good. You know exactly what the people like. You know exactly what you need to do on the radio. And once you get good, the people say, hey, this guy's good. You need to listen to so-and-so. And they start telling the other people. They start spreading the word. Then your station wants to advertise you because they know you're good. They know you can attract more people to it. And then that just equals business. And those are the 4 components. I don't care what business you're in. You name the business, and I'll tell you how the 4 components work.
Yeah, nice. All right, I tell you what, I think you're onto something there, Omar. Do you have to be a math genius to understand the equation?
Well, you know, I came up with it back in, 1997. I was writing and selling my books, and a whole lot of high school students I was talking to about book sales and creative arts and literature. They couldn't understand how I was making a living from it. You know, I guess some people believe that you have to get a check from somebody to make a living.
Right.
But I said, look, every time you guys buy a book, I just made some money. I'm going to take it back to the bank, and these books don't cost me. Of course, you can't tell them that. The books don't cost you as much as they're going to buy them for, but you mark up everything in business to make sure you can get a return on it./Sure.
All right. Now, let's talk about the formula. What is it? What is the formula? Because it actually looks like an equation, doesn't it? I mean, it's L/A star S equals B.
Okay, let me give it to you. L over A times S equals B.
There you go.
I was a pharmacy major before I started writing books. So a lot of people say, how can you go from the math and science of pharmacy all the way over to literature? That becomes like a right brain, left brain thing?
Sure.
Total switch. But what I did, I said, okay, with me doing organic chemistry and trigonometry and all the things in math and science using these formulas, I said, how can I come up with a mathematical way of explaining exactly what we're doing as creative people in business? And so the first component, the love component, one thing that you notice with successful people is that they rarely say they hate their job. In fact, they don't even call them jobs. They call them careers.
Right.
Successful people love what they do.
Sure.
You're not going to interview millionaires and billionaires who are going to say, I hate my job. That's not going to happen. They're not going to say they hate their job. If anything, they're going to put extra hours in. They're going to call their family up and say, look, I'm going to be late today. Honey, I'm working on a project. I got to go out of town for a week.
Yeah.
You know, they love that work.
Sure.
And so I call these the 100% people. That love factor has to be a high number. If you go back to the school system, when I went to school in Philadelphia, 90 to 100% was an A grade. 80 to an 89 was a B. 75 to a 79 was a C. And so the lower you get as far as what you put out with your love factor, you're going to get lower and lower. Nobody's going to really put a whole lot of credence into a person that only gives 50%.
All right,
that means half the time you're not giving your all.
All right, Omar, we got to have a lot of love if we're going to have success, right?
Yeah, that's the first part. Now the second part is the art factor. Art is all about being good. If you're not good at something, let's say you have 50 people that, in fact, my son went out for the basketball team. They had 100 kids for 12 spots. Now, if you got 100 kids, you can love basketball till the cows come home. If you're not one of the top 12 guys, you're not getting on that team.
You got to be good.
Yeah, so the second part, when you talk about being good, where I said the love part is a high number, 100%, 110%. Some people get crazy and say 150%.
Yeah.
Okay, when you start talking about art, now you're looking at the lowest number. We just had the Olympics. How many people are going to get an award at the Olympics?
Good question. Is that in the equation?
No, we're just talking about the numbers. There's 3 people at the Olympics.
All right.
Gold, silver, and bronze.
All right.
That's it. But the number 1 spot is number 1. So when you start talking about art, art is always about how good can I get toward that number 1. So you're not talking about having a high number, 100, unless you're talking about 100 out of 2 million people, that's good.
Right.
But typically when we say being a great artist, we're competing for that number 1 spot.
All right, times S. What's S?
Okay, the S is support. Once you get that number 1 spot, now you got to go out there and market and promote and make people like you. Because there's a whole lot of people who are great artists. They're geniuses. But they don't make people like them. They don't dress up. They don't go out to talk. They're introverted. They don't want to talk to anybody. They don't have any marketing, promoting. And the guy said, look, man, you're a genius, but people have to know how smart you are. They have to know what your product is. You got to hire a PR team. You got to start being likable. You got to get out there with business cards, meet and greet people. So the support factor is something that a lot of business people who know how to sell, and they make these phone calls over and over and over again, they may not even have a product, but they know how to sell.
Sure.
And so what happens now, once you get to be a great artist, now you have to hire somebody, if you're not good at it, to promote and sell your items. That's why I'm on a show right now, to make sure people know that the equation is available on Amazon.com and at all the bookstores, BarnesandNobles.com, but they have to hear what I'm talking about and have to get out there and talk about it as much as possible so they know that you have something that's valuable.
Well, so far you've done the L, the A, and the S. I'm sold. What's the B?
Okay, the B is the business part, and that's the equal part. Once you multiply all the people who are going to buy your books or listen to your radio station, then you start getting the multiplication that equals the business. And that's in every business that you're going to do. Once I start selling books, I'm not looking at addition. I'm looking at multiplication. If I want to sell 10,000 books and they're worth $25, that's $25,000, you know.
Yeah.
So we're looking at multiplying, and that's going to equal your business. So the more people you can get and that support factor, we can get 100,000 people. Now we're talking about $250,000. If we're talking about getting 1 million people, now we're talking about 2.5 million. And so the number continues to increase as you continue to increase your support number. It's just like the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl every year, they're going to sell the most tickets than any other sporting event on that one day, and then we're going to have 100 million people watching, and so the Super Bowl is always going to be the granddaddy of them all because of the support factor.
Omar, it sounds to me that this formula really can work in any business, industry, you name it. Would you agree with that?
That's what it is. You simplify it into those 4 components, and then the people have to ask themselves, which component am I weak in? Am I in a job right now that I truly don't love? And if I don't love this job, of course you're not going to get good at it.
Yeah.
Of course, a lot of people are not going to support you. They can see that you're not loving it and you're not good at it, so then your business is low.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have to find out what you're good at and learn to love what you're good at and go at it full tilt, then get people to support you to increase your business. You don't do that, then don't think about increasing any business that you're in.
Omar, we're obviously, America's in a bad financial crisis right now. People are pulling back. Does this formula, does it work in bad times as well as good times?
Yeah, because when it works in bad times, if you're in a job right now that's a no-win job, okay, now this economy isn't going to stay bad forever.
Yeah.
Right now is a perfect time to start volunteering and whatnot, because a lot of people are going to be like, I don't have money to pay you, but if you volunteer, you can win a whole lot of loyalty right now, okay? But typically, when you have a family already, I just wrote this on my blog, now if you already have a family and you have income and you got kids and all that, now you have to sacrifice time away from them, and you're going to have to do that so you can do a job that you really love to do. And we come out of this recession, depression, whatever, you start volunteering with somebody, and they have loyalty to you, you lock in for 3 years down the road, now you got a position. They're supposed to say, look here, you jumped in this thing when we were down at the bottom, and we're going to ride it back to the top. And that's loyalty, which I talk about in the book. I have about 20 different elements. Each component has 5 elements that I talk about in the equation book so we can get more specific about it.
Let's talk about where can people find the book. We're almost out of time here today. Where can
Amazon.com is the quickest way. You can get it all over the country where you don't have to leave your house. You know how Amazon works.
Sure.
BarnesandNobles.com you can do as well. And then any other bookstore that you go to the business department, look under Tyree, Tyree, and grab the equation and let everybody else know about it. It's a simple formula, 4 components, 20 elements, and everybody needs to learn it if they want to increase that business.
Omar, I love your enthusiasm. Omar Tyree, folks, the name of the book, once again, at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, you can get it. The Equation, Applying 4 Indisputable Components of Business Success. Omar, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.